Hello, my little blueberries. Welcome back to Transformation Realness, the only show all about people who are doing their best to make the world of work less shitty and have the guts to share their story. The good, the bad, and most of all, the real. This podcast is produced in partnership with RepCap and hosted by yours truly, the audacious and ever curious Kyle Lagunas, head of strategy and principal analyst at Aptitude Research, the leading boutique research firm covering HR tech and transformation. Get into it. This episode is the next installment of Built on Workday, the birth of an HR tech ecosystem. We are coming to you live from Workday's Forever Forward bus. Yes, that's right, a bus inside a conference hall in Las Vegas, and it's as surreal as it sounds. And today, we're not just on a journey metaphorically, we're going deep into skills-based transformation with some of the seriously smart folks from Lightcast. I'm joined by Mark Hansen and Caroline Effinger from Lightcast, the powerhouse behind labor market intelligence and skills strategy. And listen, skills-based transformation is everywhere right now. Everyone's talking about it, but few are doing it well. So in this episode, we're diving into how skills can actually connect the dots between hiring, learning, workforce planning, and beyond, and how folks like Lightcast are making it all possible. So let's get real about the skills buzz, what's working, what's not, and how the right partnerships, data, and tech can make all the difference. Let's get rolling. And that bus pun is fully intended. Hello, my little blueberries. Welcome back to an extremely special episode of Transformation Realness. I have to say that I am both excited and a little embarrassed. I'm coming to you live from HR Tech Conference, which is the biggest innovation show in the world of work. And I am on the Workday bus. And it is a gigantic bus. And there's a gigantic picture of me on the side of this bus right now. And hi, Mom, I'm on TV. I'm also excited, of course, because I'm joined by two super smart people that work for a company called Lightcast. You might have known Burning Glass. You might have known MZ, and now it is Lightcast. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I did a collaboration project with Burning Glass when I was at IDC before. So I'm really excited to have you guys here and maybe a little bit embarrassed with me too. Do you guys want to say hi? Mark, kick us off.
Sounds good. Well, Kyle, thank you. We appreciate being on the show. This is, it's exciting. This is one of, I think, my 8th HR Tech conference. And so first time on a bus, and it's incredible.
Isn't it kind of surreal?
It's really more comfortable in the bus than out in the hall. So this is beautiful. Happy to be here. Yeah, so Mark Hansen, I've been with Lightcast for almost 6 years now. Okay. I came from the legacy MZ side, and I was a customer for 5 years. So I used to run people analytics at United Health Group, and that's where I got introduced to this crazy world of labor market analytics, and got really in depth through some talent intelligence projects, and got to know the Lightcast folks a little too well, and got poached over to their side. And so
got hooked.
Yeah, lately I've been leading our skill strategy. So all of our go-to-market, our data models, our skills software products, and that's how we're plugged in with Workday, and all the amazing work that they're doing is through our partnership with Workday and some of our skills products. So yeah, super happy to be here.
Keeping busy, I hear.
We are extremely
got a little
busy.
Bit of work to do, huh?
Very busy, and Workday customers are the best, and so we're extremely busy with Workday too. So that's good.
Workday is not a sponsor of this podcast, but they are hosting me. Thank you very much to the Workday team. I'm going to let you say how much you love them.
Yes.
Caroline, who the hell are you?
Great to meet you. So Caroline Effinger, I am the Director of Consulting here at Lightcast, formerly from Legacy Burning Glass, so I've been with the company for a bit. I lead all of our skills-based strategy work with clients who are trying to figure out, what does it mean to be a skills-based organization? What steps should I take? How do we tackle this really big issue right now? So I lead all of those consulting engagements. This is actually my first time at HR Tech.
Are you serious?
I am serious, and I'm here on the Workday bus, and I feel like this is the best experience ever.
It's always this cool. Yes. Just so you know. No, literally, this is kind of, like I said, surreal. Okay, skills. I want to jump right into this. So to be honest, I'm an industry analyst. I study innovation cycles in the world of work. I cover, activity in the vendor landscape. I cover emerging trends in the practitioner landscape. And skills. Like I'm actually I was really sick of it.
Yeah.
I felt like it was something that we were just talking about all the time. And it was like, oh, I'm doing skills. It was like middle school sex, like, and I didn't dislike the concept, but I did see just a lot of aspirational, like oversimplification. I saw a lot of very busy work of like, people analytics teams getting spun up for major, what started as like a cool idea and then turned into like a huge complicated problem or challenge, we'll call it.
Yep.
And so I do want to start with you, Caroline, talking about the work that you're seeing. What are you doing? Like, are we getting better at this stuff? Where are we at right now?
Yeah, no, it's such a good question. I really think we're at the tip of the iceberg. A lot of companies are just starting to talk about it. Skills-based organization really is a buzzword right now. So what we've been trying to do with our team at Lightcast is take that from something that's really theoretical into something that's a little bit more practical.
Yeah.
So we like to think about the skills-based organization on like a few different pillars so that you can say, hey, how can I take action on each of these pillars?
Okay.
So that might be things like first, business strategy. Whatever you're doing with skills, you need to be tying it back to things that are driving business value for your company.
I love to hear you say it.
Yes,
Thank you.
exactly. Like that's what we preach to our clients. That needs to be your North Star, what guides everything that you do. Also need to think about, governance and processes. Again, this is not something that you kind of do one time and then, oh my goodness, your business is booming and everything's great. You need to create processes that enable you to be consistent and sustainable and have that long-term success.
Yeah.
Obviously, the data is a big piece of it. We do see some companies who want to start right with the tech. And again, we can't overlook the tech. You need the data. You need the tech to house that. But we typically say that shouldn't be the first place you start. Again, you need that business value. You need the governance in place in there. But again, something to not overlook.
But I feel like that's where we started. I felt like everybody was selling skills-based talent strategies out of the box. Like, just buy my software. And then you'll have skills.
Yes.
And honestly, like you all have been in the business for long enough. Like HR loves to buy a solution.
Yes.
Like, oh great, I can buy it and then I can have it. Wonderful.
Yes.
And then here we are 4 years on the journey and we've gone through working with one consultancy to another consultancy. We moved from one vendor to another vendor. And it does sound like the work that you're doing at Lightcast, you're getting people closer to the heart of like, where do we actually begin with this? Exactly. What does the work actually need to be?
Yes.
And we really need more of it. HR always has had struggled to maintain credibility in the business. Not like okay, great, HR, HR stuff, right? But the business relevance, the business savvy and literacy, I think is something that we have to continuously prove. And I think that's why I didn't love skills out of the gate, because it felt like HR doing a new HR thing. It felt like employee engagement again. Remember when everything was employee engagement?
Yeah.
And and then guess what? It meant nothing. The word meant absolutely our employee experience.
Right.
Everything was employee experience. And then so nothing was, right?
Exactly.
It was just like we were buying stuff.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing with that?
No, I couldn't agree more, because again, we do see some clients who will come to us and just say, hey, what HRIS should we be looking at? How do we, think about our tech and our data? And our message is, okay, it's the same as AI. Kind of, if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. You really need to understand, what are the goals that you're trying to accomplish as a business? What change are you trying to drive? And then figure out, okay, let's identify the key roles that impact that. What are the skills associated with that? Again, you need, data and tech to be able to store and leverage
they're enablement layers, right? They're a core part of a solution.
Exactly, but it's not the starting point.
Okay.
So you need to really identify the crux of the problem.
Yeah.
Mark, you want to jump in here?
Well, and I was just going to say, it's a whole new
because we're still talking.
We are. I'll wheeze away in. No, it's a whole new muscle for HR leaders, but also just business leaders in general. When they're starting to see this huge wage increase, and now the CFO is panicking about this is our biggest expense item. How do we manage our talent more effectively? Well, the way that technology is moving and how fast that is, the way that job titles actually don't mean a lot anymore because they're too vague, because we're getting much more focused deliverables around how are we running our business? What do we need to run our business? We need these specialized roles. And so you think of skills, it's just a new way of operating HR and a new way of workforce planning and a new way of bringing into an understanding of talent at a more granular and precise level. And so when you think about making this transition, it's a very natural one because we need to move that direction because of the pace of change with AI and generative, large language models, all of the fun things that we get to do.
Sure.
That's disrupting how we do work, and we need to define work in a more precise way. And when you have so many vague job titles, it's hard to manage your business around, we need a new prompt engineer. Well, what does that even mean?
Yeah. What is the work that person's going to do?
When you get down to the list of skills, it's just an extension of a job description that's more detailed.
Okay.
And so when we can piece that in, that's the measurable mechanism that connects people, learning, and work. And so these systems with Workday and any other HR tech system, the reason why some of these point solutions have not taken off, because it's like, we have skills, just buy our thing. Well, it needs to integrate. It needs to speak the same language.
Be embedded in the rest of the employee life cycle, right?
Yes.
Like, it can't just be like one little thing. One little thing over here.
And so, that's where we really focus on this common language of skills. And if we can get our systems talking to each other, that's what's going to drive the outcomes that you're expecting for retention strategies, for mobility strategies, for screening and recruiting. How are we setting up that full strategic workforce plan? Skills is going to give us the precise language. And so we're on a mission to educate the business leaders to say, don't be scared of skills. It's already in your systems. We just need to unlock that data and show you how it connects so that you can manage your people more effectively and manage, most importantly, the spend of that. If we can optimize the spend of our people, skills can give us the mechanism to do that.
Well, I mean, I have seen a really popular leading use case for skills is actually workforce planning.
Yes.
We're doing more than just budget allocation and headcount planning, right? We are trying to think like, well, what are the skills that are going to move the business forward? Actually, that was something that I had worked with Burning Glass on, is like, what are the innovation accelerators?
Yes.
And, so you're talking about HR and like how much we're up against what we're going. HR is going through its own skills gap crisis, like where we need to evolve and grow. And so I feel like maybe that is connected to this obsession with skills right now, is because we're recognizing that even within our own organizations, that we need to start thinking about more than just an HR generalist or a people analytics lead or a recruiter. Like, we need to look at what is the work becoming for each of these different individuals. You had also said, and maybe I can come into your work, Caroline. It's like, well, we do need to integrate the systems. We do need to get a shared skills language. But we need the functions to integrate too. Talent acquisition and learning don't really talk a lot. It's not just because one works in an LMS and one works in an ATS. It's they're actually really not interfacing a ton, right? So what is the work to be done on that front? Because a project might start in TA, which we've seen a ton, or a project might start in learning, which we've seen a ton, and they're going to build solutions that they like on either end, and it's not going to be relevant for their counterparts across the HR org.
Exactly. No, we try to do a lot of that work in educating about connecting all of those parts of kind of the talent life cycle. And again, skills is the core there that can make that connection easily. So you're going to hire, you want to find the right person with the right skills for your role. Once they're there, you can think about, okay, what skill sets do they have? How can that enable them to, transition into new roles, grow? Again, it'll help drive your company, new growth opportunities for that person as well. They can feel, valued, like they have the chance to learn and grow. And in the LMS, you can be really targeted about what are those skills that this person needs to make those transitions. So again, skills is kind of that connective tissue between everything that can really, really help drive.
I do see that. And it's also it's a matter of again, I do understand why workforce planning is the leading use case here, because we need to get more resilient, right? We need to make sure that we're hiring we're staffing up the right things, we're prepared for the next thing. But I also feel like then in workforce planning, and maybe this is where we can start to pivot into the partnership with Workday, I need to do, it's not just build, buy, borrow now, it's build, buy, borrow, bot, right? I need to look and see, and maybe it's where we're integrating TA and learning, I need to see what kind of talent availability is there out in market. How competitive is it for these skills, right? Do these skills exist? Do I have an opportunity in developing these skills myself, right? In opening a service center in this new region, because that's where we have a bunch of an untapped skills market. Do you know what I mean? That is the strategic workforce plan that I think where HR can start to lean into the business and be like, hey, we can really get ahead of the market on something over here, right? We don't have to just spend the premium to hire these cybersecurity engineers or prompt engineers, these really hot roles. we can look and say, actually, there's a whole IT center over here that I think that such and such company is about to get rid of. We should scoop these people up and run them through a boot camp to get them skilled up in these things that will get us out in front of market. Like, so, right? And then I'm getting out of just like running reports on skills in my business.
Yes.
I'm actually do need to look out at the market and have a full view on skill supply and demand. So I'm not making strategies in a vacuum, right? I'm not just, all right, well, here's our workforce plan. It has no context. Go deliver on it.
Yeah.
So let's talk. So the theme of this week's campaign, or this bit of the podcast, is built on Workday.
Awesome.
You both know this, but for those in the audience that don't know, the Workday organization, they have always been extremely selective and intentional with engaging with partners in the market. And I loved it because it was being very protective of, their IP, but also of their customers. Workday had one of the fastest growing install bases in HCM and financials, and they needed to make sure they were protecting it. But their new CEO, Carl, has seen a real opportunity for Workday to be a different kind of leader in market, not just with market share, but engaging this extremely vibrant ecosystem of best-in-breed solution providers like Lightcast to bring differentiated value to their customers. And so that is actually one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you both into the show, is I want to talk about, all right, we just walked through a whole bunch of story around skills, and we landed on one of the things that's missing when you're working with you're within the domain of HR, right? So can we talk a little about what does Lightcast do? You guys share with me what your roles are, but what does Lightcast do? And then I'm going to come over to what are you doing with Workday? Do you want to start with us, Mark?
Absolutely.
You're
Happy
building
to,
this
Kyle.
product, right? You're in charge of this.
Yeah, we got it built. We got it integrated. Lightcast at its core is a labor market intelligence firm. So when you were explaining, like, when do we need to go out to the market to understand where do we find these skills? What are the companies that have these skills? That's exactly our value prop, is saying we need to understand the external labor market and merge that with the internal data that the companies have. So we have that 360-degree view of talent. And so that's where Lightcast comes in with Workday, is saying, how do we bring in some additional data that it's not part of the Workday core that we can add and enhance and help boost all of the connected modules in that wonderful ecosystem that Workday has. And so that was where our partnership started with Workday, was saying, hey, help us understand the most important skills or the expected skills for our jobs. Can we use the labor market data to bring good suggestions around which skills are important for our company in our industry based on how we're comparing ourselves to our benchmark companies? Help me jumpstart that process to feed this wonderful Skills Cloud engine and all the things that's in the middle of these modules for the machine learning to grasp onto. We built a certified integration with Workday to put skills on that. And when they opened up their ecosystem, skills was one of the first thing that they wanted to bring in, because there was just wonderful partners out there that were doing some unique things. And that was a great move on Workday's part, because many of our customers, they're like, hey, we're begging for this external labor market intelligence. How can we get that in? Well, this is a perfect marriage between the internal and external data, and creating that connection point to be able to make some of these strategic changes.
Well, and I love that, and I want to spell this out for people who are listening in case you miss it. Like, you guys aren't just bringing labor market data. You actually have an extremely robust and mature skills taxonomy, right? And so you are looking at job postings and like job descriptions from around the world, and you are standardizing all of that and continuously building out your skills taxonomy, which is, I think, maybe an accelerant, Caroline, for companies that are like, where do we start? Am I building my own? Or this is a new kind of best of breed. Could I partner with a leader like Lightcast and have a best of breed skills taxonomy that will be ubiquitously like standardized, right? And so like I have a new standard to work with. I'm not going to have to build my own from scratch.
Yes, exactly. No, I think that's, again, a huge part of what we do with skills, with job titles. We have clients who come to us and say, hey, I have 5,000 employees and 4,500 unique job titles. It's like, hey, that's, that's not efficient, right? That's not really capturing the nature of the work that these people are doing. And that's where you can say, hey, yes, we've looked at hundreds of millions of job postings. We've looked at social profiles. We've standardized this language so that you can really understand who are the people I have, what's the core work that they do in terms of the skills to really kind of bring that value and understanding of what's going on.
Yeah. Well, and then I feel like that helps to, like I said, accelerate that skills journey. Like I'm not starting from complete scratch, but I also am maybe not going to have to clear the whole table of anything that I've done in the past, right?
Exactly.
Can you guys talk to me a little bit about that? Like, because there are companies that are on the journey, right? Then before they engage with Lightcast, they've already done work, and they're like, well, am I going to throw this investment away that we've done before? Because, you know, like we did like competency models not that long ago, right? So what are we doing with that? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, no, so it's one of the spots where most of our customers start. They're like, how do I weave in competency models? Well, competency models really are wonderful and they have a purpose, but it's more of a top-down approach because you're looking at kind of the broad 5 to 8 competencies that are associated with each job. As we need to feed the systems more with more detailed data of what this job is doing, we need to take that bottom-up approach, and we call that the skill to job taxonomy. So you're building that foundation of the skills needed to run your business. And when we use the Lightcast open skill taxonomy, like you said, it's the broad capture of what's happening in the labor market. And so we have about 33,000 skills that we update monthly based on all those labor market observations that we're finding in job postings and people's profiles. Well, a company doesn't need 33,000 skills. They need to 1 to 3,000.
What?
They don't. We don't want them to. That's what we use to track all of our data.
Good, because I only have 29,999.
Exactly. And so we want to bring that in to say, okay, what's applicable for your jobs in the industry that you're in? Let's get that on the job architecture. Now that can unlock a whole bunch of use cases of like, now here's the skills we need to be screening for search and match. Here's how we need to audit our learning content with L&D. Here's how we can look at unique career pathways based on skill overlap. And so when we can leverage something that's anchored in really robust market data and is attached to our internal data as we pipe that into Workday and other systems, that's where it becomes really fun to start to say, okay, let's break down those silos so TA can actually start talking to L&D.
Let's get everybody on the same page.
Get talent management
Okay,
in the mix.
well, let me ask you this. Like, because you guys you've been practitioner, you know, you've been solution providers for a while, you work with a lot of different customers. Everybody's so special, you know, like, oh no, but these are my skills, you know, and these are my jobs. Like, how do you find when you're working with clients? Are they wanting that like benchmark? Are they wanting that to standardize to something, or are they struggling with that? Like, well, but we're us though. Like, that's cool that that's what you guys do, but we're us. How precious are we about some of this stuff?
Yeah, no, it's such a good question. I think, you know, most companies come in with some sort of point of view, but I think once we can give them that, you know, broader external labor market view of like, hey, these are what your competitors are doing, or this is what's going on in your industry. It's really eye-opening for them to say, okay, I understand that we have a few things that are unique to us, but we might need to evolve and change based on what our competitors are doing to really stay competitive there.
And, you know, that is part of the legacy from Burning Glass. A lot of people would engage with you for competitive intel, right?
Exactly.
They're like, all right, well, what skills are my competitors hiring for? And like, I actually remember, like, you remember when Amazon was going to open their new headquarters, like they were going to open up another headquarters in North America. And I came into the office, and because I was living in Boston and Cambridge, and you guys are on the North End, and they were like, you want to see something fun? We've narrowed it down ourselves to 3 different cities where we think this is going to be. I'm like, oh my God. They're like, well, we can't tell you where, but here's how we're looking at it. I'm like, holy crap, this is so cool. But then I like this competitive aspect of it.
Yes.
You know, because mostly the only competitive capability in HR has been TA. Like, we have to compete for talent in that way, right? The others, maybe somebody wants to argue with me, come at me, get me on LinkedIn, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, I kind of like this sense of like, oh, okay, well, I want to be competitive, but maybe in order to do that, I see the value in standardizing. Like, does that resonate? Is that where people are coming at this? They're like, all right, let me let go of my ego about this because I want to actually compete. I don't want to get in my own way.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I think a lot of companies eventually realize like, hey, we need to understand what's going on more broadly with our competitors to compete and stay relevant and, you know, be attractive for candidates who are trying to say, hey, I want to go to a company where I can learn and grow and get new skills and grow financially and things like that. So I think that definitely resonates with clients.
Well, the relevance is something that really is like, again, we started at the top. I was like, I'm skeptical about the skill stuff. I'm not anymore. Like, I am. And actually, by the way, like, I'm kind of a stakeholder for it. I don't have an undergrad degree. And I was underemployed for a long time, ladies. Like, it was really hard. I think we made it. My picture's on a bus. I don't know.
Definitely made
you know?
That's a good sign.
Better than it being on the back of a milk carton.
That's right.
You know, but I'm seeing it now. All right, so I did publish a study last week, and it was called the the power of intelligent and intentional talent transformation. And what we were looking at was what are the talent transformation initiatives that are leading our space right now, and skills-based was one of the top ones. Well, I found something that was super interesting. As a researcher, like you guys are nerds too, right? Like we have our own assumptions and then the data tells a different story. Yep. That's what happened. So I came in thinking that, there's focused programs that are looking at specific workforce segments or even a specific job family, or that are focusing on a specific demographic, or like they're just running a pilot to start. And then there's also programs that are comprehensive where they're trying to boil the whole ass ocean, and it takes years and years and millions of dollars with consultants, which is fine because they have Lightcast. It's $1 million worth it. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like, so there's these two programs, focused and comprehensive. And I thought for sure coming in that the focused programs were going to be the most impactful in areas like, just in near-term impact, right? Like seeing influence on KPIs like talent retention and employee satisfaction and things like this. Would you believe that there was actually almost no statistical difference in its reported impact? So I just have the survey, but they're all HR leaders self-reporting anonymously. Maybe they'd still have they're patting themselves on the back. There was no statistical difference in impact. They were both having positive impact in these KPIs they were targeting. And I'm like, okay. So my takeaway was it doesn't have to be perfect, and you can come at this however you want to. The important part is just getting on the board and moving, because what we really did see is the accelerators of impact were maturity, just staying and keeping going, keep going, right? And learn from mistakes, fail forward. And the other one was AI. And I think AI is, it's a buzzword, but in this sense, like you were talking and really quickly, because you're smart, but not everybody can keep up with us. Like AI is a huge enablement layer for some of the most complicated, heavy lift problems that we have with skills around the data picture. Yeah. Capturing data pulling data from one system and another system and one source and another source, standardizing all of it. Do you know how many number crunchers we would need to have? Remember data entry as a job? Yeah. You know what I mean? The number of people that would have to be manually doing that work. Yeah. I don't know how quickly you guys can pull this all together, but I'm going to guess it takes less than a month, right? It takes less than and maybe that's just the first pass and you iterate on it, but literally AI is accelerating transformation so rapidly and in some really meaningful, not super shiny feature-led ways, right? It's just this is the kind of big lift that we're getting from AI. So it was kind of interesting, right? I thought the pilots, the ones that were let's start small and figure this out and then maybe go big. Yeah. Is that surprising to you guys?
It is a little bit. I mean, I think they mirror each other, because when you're looking for full organization transformation, going comprehensive actually works if you do it the right way and you phase it in and you have those expectations of we need to iterate. So focusing on skills, it's an iterative process. You want that to be the core of your job architecture, as well as starting to gather from your employees the skills that they have, so you have the supply and demand of skills for your org. Okay. And so you need to start somewhere, but it's living and breathing. It needs to update just like you update your job descriptions, just like you update having employees fill in, hopefully more often than annually, but getting stuff on their profile and saying, we want you to get the best learning suggestions. And if if we look at the connective ecosystem of Workday, it's just like other large systems. Skills Cloud is driving that recommendation engine from an AI and machine learning perspective. And so Skills is making the connection when the worker logs in and says, here's the important skills for your job. Oh, you should look at this learning. Oh, you should look at a career hub. And when it says this is a potential career path, it's all the recommendations are driven off those skill connections in the background between all the different data sets. So you absolutely need it from a large scale. Yeah. It becomes more powerful when you say, hey, our new growth area is going to be cybersecurity, because we've seeing all these cyber attacks, whatever it might be, we need to focus in and really amp that up because maybe we're behind. Yeah. Well, now we can focus learning, we can focus recruiting around that area. So we see both success there of where you have to be doing both to get the maximum impact for your business on the focus projects to really ramp up that area. And then, but how are we serving this long term to serve others than just the special projects? Let's get it embedded.
I'm kind of glad then. I mean, like, there is a wrong way to do it. We're saying we're learning from some of our mistakes. But the point is, if you're doing it, it's making a difference. And so now I'm sold. Yes, it's very buzzy still, but it is having a difference. All right. Well, I want to talk about like the Workday partnership a little bit more specifically, because you did run us through broad brush, but like, having the access, you guys are a certified integration partner, right? I actually was a former certified integration partner when I was at Beamery. And honestly, we could turn that baby on and it was fully integrated almost instantaneously, which was a real great selling point for teams that are worried about like the cost of maintaining integrate. Anyway, I'm not going to go to the detail. Talk to me not just about integrations though, because now you are potentially innovating together, right? So can we talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's been a wonderful partnership since we are bringing that external lens, and then through that certified integration, like you said, it takes less than 10 minutes because it's all connected in the background, and we put in some credentials and it turns on, and it's all approved by the wonderful Workday technical team and API team there. And so it's that's a great spot for it, the easy button for customers to plug in there.
And you need that, especially because this kind of project is like, these are complicated projects.
Oh, yes.
Right? To get stuck with something like that, this is the last thing I want to worry about.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, the expanded ecosystem of the other skilled partners that are there for doing things with learning and doing things with some of the marketplace work, like it's all wonderful. So it's as we look at the different use cases that Workday is trying to unlock, whether it be some additional analytics work or additional workforce planning work, like that's where it gets really fun to say, okay, how much can this ecosystem expand to meet those use cases? And one of the big trends that we've seen in the last few years was everybody 4 or 5 years ago was buying point solutions. Like I need my surveys vendor and I need my engagement platform and my rewards, and now I need, now people are kind of saying, well, it was so hard to manage those integrations because everything breaks all the time. We're seeing this track back to say, well, what's our core HCM? Can we get the pieces of value that we need to unlock from this? And we're actually going to take a little bit of a, not a risk, but just like a calculated risk around, okay, we're going to trust this system because all of that integration reduces the complexity between the connected modules that are already there. So let's stay in this ecosystem, but let's get those certified partners in so that at least we know that it's going to work and it's going to be less maintenance and management for the team. So we've been really pleased to work with Workday. They've been wonderful product partners, but also just thought leader partners. And we're excited to see where it goes because it's one of those things that they're growing rapidly, and they're making the right product investments and really listening to their customers. So.
It is so different, right? I mean, like we were saying, like the skills taxonomy is a best of breed. Like we used to be buying best of breed applications. And now we're looking at like, what is my best of breed for skills? Right. And maybe I am going to go out and I'm going to buy, a talent system, maybe. But I'm seeing a lot more that are investing in that core. They're like, and look, we're going to get the most high impact best of breed, not just this whole kit and caboodle over here, which has a lot of change management and implementation. Like I'm going to actually find something that like Lightcast, which is going to be a huge lift across all of my talent applications. And also going to be somewhere where my finance team is also working in this and take a look at this. I feel like it's going to transform workforce planning in a really important way. So I'm really excited for it.
No,
cool.
I think it's great. I think as everyone's talking about AI and seeing kind of the power and limitations of what it can do based on the data that's underlying it, people are realizing it's not just about the application or the platform, but it's what's the data that's powering that. So I think having that really, benchmark standardized skills taxonomy really goes a long way.
Do you find for yourself, like when you're engaging with customers that are on Workday versus on something else, are you like, oh, thank God this is a Workday team? Like we're gonna be way more impactful here because
Absolutely, because we can get that integrated into their systems that touches their people and they can help make those decisions. So yes, it makes our work that much more impactful. And that's great for you as a billable hour. You're like, we're getting in here, we're gonna make an impact right away. They'll be really happy. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you have to feed the AI engine. Like it's not that the AI is bad. It's just it can't anchor on data where there is no data.
Right.
And so that's where you get the hallucination. So if we can be a good partner to feed that engine and bring in that core data, then the machine learning and AI can actually grasp on more data and it makes better suggestions. And so that's where it's like, okay, this is better together sort of world, which is really fun.
And that's what's so funny. We're entering this age very quickly where AIs are talking to AIs. It's just like so nuts. As an industry analyst, like I'm a little dizzy.
Absolutely.
But I also thought the hallucinations were driven by psilocybin. Is that That's the only hallucinations I'm aware of.
funny.
No
That's
comment
funny.
needed. No comment needed.
I love it.
Well, cool. Thank you both for joining. I'm really excited to see what comes next with Lightcast. I know you teased a little bit before we got on here, but I look forward to seeing some press releases coming out and seeing what you guys are cooking up together.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kyle.
Bye, guys.
All right, folks, that's a wrap. I want to give a shout out to Mark and Caroline from Lightcast for hopping on the Workday bus and dropping all the realness about skills-based transformation. From the connective tissue of skills tying talent acquisition to learning, to the power of AI making skills data actually usable, this conversation really brought it home. My favorite part was the humbling reminder that you don't have to get it perfect. Whether you're starting small or going big, just get on the board and keep moving. That's where the real transformation happens. All right, we have more episodes coming to you from this collaboration with Workday, so I need to stop these bus puns before we run out of gas. Anyway, here's another thing to chomp on. Skills transformation isn't just about HR, it's about the business. We're talking smarter workforce planning, building resilience for what's next, and actually connecting talent strategies to real business outcomes. Lightcast is showing us that when you pair a robust skills taxonomy with powerful market insights, you're not just keeping up, you're getting ahead. And let's be honest, who doesn't want a little competitive edge? Big thanks to you, my incredible listeners. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon with more real stories from people shaking shit up and taking work to the next level. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and most of all, stay real.
Bye.